Well, there you go. It's like buses, isn't it? Nothing happens all summer, and then within 24 hours, Newcastle are in advanced talks with two new signings. One of which, as of this afternoon, reported by David Ornstein and The Athletic, is Marc Guehi, the 24-year-old centre-back from Crystal Palace, who was very impressive with England at the Euros. Going to talk about that in today's video, as well as Osula, the Sheffield United player that seems to not be quite as far along as first thought as of yesterday, and is Anthony Gordon set to sign a new contract with Newcastle? Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video on this sunny-ish day. Friday afternoon in Newcastle. It was lovely and sunny when I walked outside. The clouds are coming over now. Looking forward to the weekend, and as always, plenty to get into in the world of Newcastle United. So if you've not hit subscribe yet, be sure to do so. We are just a week today away from the Cellar Cup, 2 weeks tomorrow away from the start of the season. I was double checking that in my head there. That seems crazy, and it's about time Newcastle got cracking with some of these transfers. Breaking news yesterday was that Newcastle are in advanced talks with Sheffield United for the 20-year-old Danish striker Osula, which has had a very mixed reaction from the Newcastle fans. I think when I brought the video to you guys yesterday, it was very off the cuff, and I think I stand by the reasoning of why Newcastle have done it, but I totally understand as to why some Newcastle fans were a little bit unsure about it yesterday. I think nothing has really happened all summer so far. People are waiting for that kind of big name, big transfer to come out. Could Marc Guehi well be that one? We will wait and see. But I think at the time of yesterday, we haven't spent any money yet this summer. You know, we've sold players and we haven't really brought anybody in. And then the idea of a unproven, untested Sheffield United striker who really has to earn his stripes still was possibly slightly underwhelming. I think the trouble is that Callum Wilson's injured. We're going to struggle to sell Callum Wilson even if we wanted to. And Isak's our number one striker. So I still think we need to bring a striker in this summer. You could argue that Osula is maybe not quite where we want to be in terms of bringing a striker in, but it's going to be tough because we already have Isak. So we will wait and see, but it was reported as of yesterday that the deal was essentially done. Fabrizio Romano reported that he was going to be in Newcastle today having his medical, so that was actually what I was waiting around for today to make a video on, the idea that he would be turning up at the training ground. But Keith Downey has actually come out and squashed that to some degree, saying that the 10 plus 5 million agreement is virtually there with Sheffield United, but that personal terms are still yet to be 100% agreed, and it may take a little longer before it's over the line, but it does sound like it's happening. I think Osula, unless something goes horribly wrong, and maybe there's some Newcastle fans out there who are hoping it goes wrong, you know, for me, I was going to say in this day and age, it makes it sound ancient. I am getting older, like, where my beard's going grey, I know that. But 10 million, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not loads. If that 10 million is money we could have better spent on the right wing, and at the end of the transfer window, we'll find out. You know, if we go and get a centre back, which we'll talk about in a second, if we go and get a right winger, and then Osula is our third choice striker, you know, I don't mind it. If Osula ends up being our only attacking option this summer, then it hasn't been a good window. But one winger that we are hoping to hold on to and keep a little bit longer at Newcastle is Anthony Gordon, who hasn't joined up with Newcastle yet. And I think that's possibly what's on people's minds a little bit as well, because obviously Gordon got an extended break following the Euros. Obviously didn't play loads of football with England, but in fairness, didn't have a summer last summer either, because he was away playing the under-21s football. So basically played had, you know, a tough time for Newcastle last season, went straight away with the England under-21s, won, came straight back in, and it was just, well, I said this in another video, it was almost like the making of him. I think being able to go out there, play as good football, come into Newcastle, like, ready to go, has straight away come out and hit the ground running, has been fantastic for us this season. it has been a little bit unsure as to what was going on with Amanda Staveley, the PSR deadline. Darren Eales links that Gordon was potentially going to have to leave if we couldn't come to a separate solution. And since that, really on the Newcastle side has been very quiet. You know, Newcastle fans sitting patiently as we wait for Gordon to finish what looks to be a lovely holiday. Hasn't gone away to Japan, but thought that he will be linking up with Scott in time for the Cellar Cup. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Gordon is like, you know, Callum Wilson, who takes 3 months to get match fit. I think Gordon will probably wander into the side and probably be more match fit after having loads of beers on. Oh, he has been training, you know, he has been training. I think Gordon looks like he could be more match fit than most players, despite having barely played any football over the last couple of weeks. But because he hasn't been here, and because of what happened to PSR today, from the Liverpool side, constant rumours that Gordon is being targeted by Liverpool. I would look at it. I think because he's not with the squad, I think it creates that little bit of question, like, where is he? Like, what's going on? I'm not too worried, but Newcastle look like they want to make sure that he definitely doesn't leave, and it's being reported that Newcastle want to get into new contract negotiations with Gordon as soon as possible. I think what's just as crazy as a lot of the fees that are kind of being discussed for Gordon, I think one of them was like, pinch of salt, because I think it's kind of Liverpool fans as much as anything else, but I think it was kind of said that it could have been, I think it's 40 million plus Gomez from Liverpool, which, you know, in my mind, like, how much do you value Gordon? Because for me, bearing in mind how we paid 40 million, we're not going to sell him for less. You're looking at a massive fee. And bearing in mind, Liverpool have got about 3 left wingers. I don't know why they would need him anyway, so I would take it all with very much a pinch of salt. I mean, you could go as far as the fact that Bruno was linked away, and he's in every single photo we've taken with the new strip on. So it would be very strange for Newcastle to go ahead and put Bruno in every photo they've got if he wasn't going to stay. And I am excited to hear that the new contract negotiations will take place with Gordon. I mean, he hasn't been here that long anyway, but maybe it's a reward in terms of maybe a slightly higher wage, and also just making sure Newcastle get that extra year or two to make sure that if he does come up in a conversation to be sold, hopefully he doesn't in the future, we're making sure that we do get the right amount of money for him, because every year that goes by, technically speaking, the contract value drops. So to put him on a longer deal is sensible. And as I say, I'm looking forward to hopefully him getting back in action with the team as of, I guess, this week, leading into seeing him at St James's Park in the Cellar Cup. Could we see a new centre-back at Newcastle in time for the Cellar Cup? As it is, David Ornstein has reported with The Athletic that Newcastle have entered in advanced negotiations with Crystal Palace over the centre-back Marc Guehi, the 24-year-old who, by all means, I think was it Gordon who was at the Euros who said that it would be great if he could join? Was it Guehi that Gordon did that about? I'm not 100% sure now, but for me, it was, I think, possibly because we had quite a lot of big names going at that Euros, a lot of expectation, obviously didn't win it in the end. I think Guehi kind of went in as possibly one of the players who was kind of drafted in later, and because of that maybe had less expectation, but by all means I thought was one of the best players that England had at the Euros. It's clear that Newcastle are interested in bringing in a centre-back this summer window. We have been relentlessly linked with Chow from AC Milan. AC Milan actually brought in a centre-back recently. There was thoughts that because of that had opened the door for Newcastle to make the Chow signing. That has all got a little bit cold. And then as of this morning, as I say, 2 players in 24 hours, Athletic now reporting Newcastle are the first. So it's not to say that Newcastle are the only, but it's reported the first. And I'm just looking over here to read out what he's exactly said. And then you see, are the first club to enter meaningful... Good God. NUFC are the first club to enter meaningful talks as they pursue what they regard as a significant coup. Palace received Newcastle's approach this week, and if agreements can be reached, it will give Eddie Howe's men a huge lift ahead of the new season. Guehi would be an immediate starter. You let me know your thoughts on that. And among the most notable deals of the window, the current status of his Stella Park contract expires 2026, and there is has been no sign of him extending those terms, which may encourage Palace to entertain a sale. Let me know your thoughts on Marc Guehi down in the comments below. Definitely a player that's exciting. As I say, was one of the standouts for me in the England squad over the Euros. Would he start ahead of Shaw? You can tell me down below. I think it would be harsh for Shaw to be replaced this season, to be fair, because I think he's been fantastic. I think even Dan Burn on the left-hand side having to fight it out with Kelly and then soon to be Botman. I thought Dan Burn finished the season very well also, but there's no argument that right-sided centre-back needs some help. Well, I think Guehi actually played the left-sided centre-back, didn't he, for England during the Euros, but, players can play both sides, and Shaw, as good as he is now getting into the later stages of his career. I think he only has 1 year left on his deal at Newcastle. I think Newcastle will probably extend it. I think Shaw will probably gain himself an extra year, presuming he continues to play well this season. But yeah, I'll have it. Nothing really that I've seen at the time of reporting on price. It wouldn't surprise me if it's followed up very shortly with maybe a bit of information on how much that deal would cost. As it's reported there, Crystal Palace haven't really been entertaining the sale of a Marc Guehi, presumably because they want to keep him as possible, keep it as quiet as possible. But it would appear, reports this afternoon, that Newcastle are the team pressing, and I'd love to see it happen. Let me know your thoughts down below on the Asula after a night in bed. Have you woke up this morning thinking, you know what, maybe that is a good one, or are you still unsure? There was loads of mixed comments on that one yesterday. Anthony Gordon, is it time to give him a new deal? And Marc Guehi, let me know your thoughts on that centre-back coming to Newcastle. Tell you what, I'd take that one. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. As I say, loads of videos coming out as it is. And with, 2 weeks to come until the start of the season, and what is hopefully going to be a pretty exciting end to a transfer summer, drop a subscribe if you're still watching. Getting close at that 50,000 subscriber mark, so I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully an update tomorrow, and I'll catch you later.